And then we had the greatest segment in a long time. Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar come down to the ring. Now let's backtrack a little bit. This guy's going to have a match at Survivor Series in Toronto. Now, Canada already hates Goldberg because he super kicked and set in motion the end of Bret Hart's career. Not to mention, Brock hails from Canada nowadays. He's a dual citizen. He lives in Canada. So weeks ago, everybody was talking about how I hope they're not expecting Goldberg to be cheered in Toronto, because there's a very good chance, nothing's for sure, but there's a very good chance that Brock is going to be cheered and Goldberg is going to be booed. So Goldberg does this great babyface promo last week on Raw. Everybody's talking about it. And now Brock is going to do his rebuttal. And the show is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, they could have said to themselves, you know what? We're in Minneapolis. Maybe it's not the end of the world. I know we pay the guy a lot of money. Maybe we just shouldn't have the guy on this show if we want him to be booed. But no, they decided, what the hell, let's do it anyway. Paul's great. He can get this guy booed here in his hometown of Minneapolis. So Paul comes out, and he's talking about Goldberg. And he says Goldberg's name, and everybody boos. Then they began to chant Suplex City. So Paul finds one guy in the crowd with a Goldberg sign. He says, I see there's a smart-ass Goldberg fan in the crowd. These chants, he says, are really starting to piss Brock Lesnar off. And of course, this was designed to get the fans to chant Goldberg. Well, they don't chant Goldberg. Paul just plows on through. All the chants in the world, he says, won't be able to put Brock back together or Goldberg back together again. People cheer at Goldberg being broken like Humpty Dumpty. Paul is trying so hard to get Goldberg chants, but the people refuse and are chanting Suplex City to the point that Brock starts to laugh. So, as the fans are chanting Suplex City, Paul barrels on through and he pretends that they're chanting for Goldberg. And he tells him, stop chanting for Goldberg or Brock is going to take matters into his own hands. The fans keep chanting Suplex City. Finally, we get some very, 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 very light Goldberg chants. This is enough for Paul. Paul is now pretending that half the building is chanting for Goldberg. And as soon as he says, with a straight face, that half of the building is chanting for Goldberg, when at best 5% of the building is chanting for Goldberg, the fans start chanting Goldberg sucks. And Brock starts to laugh again. And what happened was backstage, Vince blew a gasket. These goddamn fans! And he played Brock's music, and they just ended it. And Paul and Brock went to the back, and that was the end of the segment. This was not how it was supposed to end. But Vince pulled the plug right in the middle of it. And then they announced Goldberg is back next week. Goldberg shouldn't even be on this show until Toronto. Because here's my thought. Is anything that Goldberg does going to be better than what he did the first week? No. So therefore, everything he does is going to be worse, in which case, don't put the guy on television. That segment was amazing.